My body hated me, or at least that was what it felt like in my 40s. Everything was stiffer than it used to be. I'd wake up in the morning and it would take an embarrassingly long time to feel like a functioning human being. Random aches that hadn't been there before, a general sense of physical resentment that I couldn't quite explain. And it wasn't just physical. My mind felt it too. More tension, less recovery time, a low hum of on the edge that was just there, even when life was going fine. So I started a 30-day yoga challenge, not because I had a grand plan, but because I needed to do something and it was accessible and I could do it at home without leaving the house. I had absolutely no idea that 30 days would turn into daily practice for over 2 years. And I had no idea that it would lead eventually to me becoming a 500-hour registered yoga teacher with my own YouTube channel. But we'll get to that. I'm Debbie. I'm a holistic nutritionist with over 15 years experience and a 500-hour registered yoga instructor. And what that means is that I look at the whole person, body, mind, and spirit, not one piece in isolation. Yoga, for me, became the thing that finally connected all three. But I want to be really clear about something up front. I didn't do this perfectly. I didn't do it intensely. Some days it was just 5 minutes. Sometimes it was more. The point was just that I showed up every single day regardless. That consistency, not the quality or the length or the difficulty of the practice, is what changed everything. And let me tell you what actually happened. So when I started the 30-day yoga challenge, I thought yoga was mainly stretching, loosen the tight muscles, improve flexibility, maybe feel a bit calmer. Fine, reasonable expectations. What I didn't expect was the awareness piece. Pretty quickly, I started noticing things I'd been completely ignoring, where I was holding tension during the day, how quickly my body reacted to stress, and how little actual recovery I was giving myself between everything. I've been running on empty and calling it normal. The physical changes, I expected those. The mental shift I got, I absolutely did not see that one coming. And honestly, that turned out to be the more valuable thing. The physical stuff didn't happen overnight. It wasn't dramatic, but gradually and consistently, things shifted. Less stiffness in the morning, and I mean real noticeable difference in how long it took me to feel like a person when I woke up. Fewer of those random aches that have been normalizing as just getting older. Better mobility in everyday movements, getting up off the floor, twisting, bending, reaching, carrying groceries, things that shouldn't be a production, but it started to become one. And here's the thing I want to emphasize. It wasn't from doing harder yoga. It was from doing it consistently. A 5-minute practice on a tired day is infinitely more valuable than skipping because you can't do 30 minutes. Your body responds to patterns. Show up consistently and it meets you there. This is the part that surprised me the most, and the part I think gets underestimated when people talk about yoga. Yoga changed my nervous system response, and I didn't even know that was something I needed until I had experienced a difference. I became more aware of when I was tense and for absolutely no reason, how often I was rushing internally, even when I wasn't rushing externally, how rarely I actually paused during a day, not scrolled on my phone for 2 minutes and called it a break, actually paused. It wasn't about relaxing more. It was about noticing sooner when I wasn't relaxed. That distinction matters because once you notice, you have a choice. Before I started practicing, I didn't even notice. The tension, that was just the baseline. And that awareness carried into everything else. How I ate, how I slept, how I responded to stress. The yoga mat was where I practiced it, but it showed up everywhere. And here's the thing I want you to really hear. Body, mind, and spirit, they're not separate. Because It's the foundation of everything I do as a holistic nutritionist and everything I teach as a yoga instructor. Your body hurts, your mind isn't focused. If your mind isn't focused, you make worse choices about food, about rest, about how you treat yourself. And when your body and mind are both struggling, your spirit, your sense of yourself, your energy, your sense of purpose, that takes a hit too. These things are not separate. They feed each other in both directions. Some bodies are absolutely screaming at people to stretch, to move, to do something. And these people are just completely ignoring it. And when they're genuinely shocked, when they end up on sick leave or dealing with something that could have been prevented if they just paid a little attention to themselves earlier. You wouldn't ignore your dog if it was limping. You wouldn't tell your kid to just push through something that was clearly wrong. You'd act. That same energy you give to those people and animals you love, you deserve that from yourself too. So after about 2 years of practicing daily, something had shifted so deeply that I couldn't just keep it to myself anymore. I went and I completed my 200-hour and then my 300-hour to become a 500-hour yoga teacher trainer. 500 hours, because this practice had given me so much that I wanted to be able to give it to other people properly with real knowledge and real depth behind it. Kind of the same way as when I did my holistic nutrition course. And I started a yoga YouTube channel dedicated entirely to practice for people exactly like the version of me who started with that 30-day challenge. People who aren't flexible, people who don't have an hour, people whose bodies feel like they're working against them and who just need somewhere to start. I'll link the channel below, but I want you to understand none of that was the plan. The plan was just to get through the 30 days. So even now, my personal practice is simple. Gentle movement, stretching the areas it needed that day, listening to my body, figuring out where I need the stretching, where maybe I don't, or maybe I need to stretch my whole damn body. Breathing intentionally, just checking in with my body and actually listening to what I find. Some days it's 10 minutes, some days it's longer. Teaching has deepened my own practice in ways that I didn't expect. When you have to understand something well enough to guide someone else through it, you understand it differently. But the foundation hasn't changed. Show up, don't perform, just practice. Just roll out your mat and move. And that mindset shift from yoga as something you do to yoga as something you practice with, that's the thing that made years of daily practice not just possible, but genuinely something I look forward to every single day. My mat is how I ground myself. It's where I find myself. And there are days that I don't do yoga every day because there are just some days I don't have time. I don't even have 5 minutes. But now that I've done it and I know it, it's easier to step back on the mat because I made that commitment when I first started. Yoga didn't fix me, but it did keep me honest about what was actually happening in my body and my mind. And it gave me the tools to actually respond to it instead of white knuckling through. That 30-day became 2 years of daily practice, 2 years became a 500-hour yoga teacher training, and now it's just who I am and how I live. I genuinely did not see any of that coming when I rolled out my mat in my living room because I just needed to do something. Not perfection, not intensity, not the fanciest mat or the most advanced poses, just showing up consistently for 5 minutes if that's all you've got. Your body will meet you there. It's been waiting. If this resonated, subscribe for more no BS holistic nutrition and wellness, and head to my yoga channel for practices you can actually do wherever you are, whatever shape you're in. The link is below, and I'll see you in the next one.